My name is Erinn Cox.
My name is Janet Quilligan.
And we are volunteers here with the Anderson Township Historical Society and Urban Farm. And today we're going to talk to you about 6 different items in review of taking care of the chickens here on the farm. We also really want to thank you for your volunteerism and all that you have done to make this program happen. So we're going to talk to you about 6 items, and the first one that we're going to mention has to do with the fence. As a reminder, we would love to see you make sure that you properly attach the pole of our fence to the coop, and that's just to make sure the chickens don't get out. And how you can do that is just make sure you grab the pole, hook it into the 2 hooks here, and then once you've done that, take your foot and apply quite a bit of pressure, because when it's dry, it takes a little effort, and smush it down into the ground like that. That way there's no gap and the chickens can't squeeze out when you're not looking.
Periodically, we have broody hens here at the urban farm. They think they're going to hatch eggs, but they're not, because we don't have a rooster around. We don't have fertile eggs. But in their minds, they're going to sit on those eggs until they hatch. It could look kind of scary when you see this behavior, because they look like they're going to take your head off. But they really aren't going to. It's really pretty easy just to come in and lift them out and gently place them onto the ground. She fluffs her feathers up. She sometimes vocalizes and growls, but she's never offered to hurt anybody. It's important for us to remove them from the nest while they're broody, because they aren't eating and drinking properly. We want to be sure they get up and take a drink, have some food, take a dust bath to keep their grooming up, and they will also take a big poop while they're out.
All right, so as you probably have observed, we have different types of waterers here on the farm for the chickens. We have the cup waterer, the nipple waterer, and the basin waterer. We actually have 2 of these. One of them is inside the coop that we use, especially in the winter because it's heated. And then one we use out here inside the run. This one you probably have observed over outside in their outdoor run area. And this one is also in their covered run area as well. But one thing, having all of these different waterers is a lot to keep clean and keep up with. So there's a couple tasks we would love for you to check in on your volunteer days. So with the cup waterer, in the summer, seasonally, if it's spring or summer or fall, the little cups get really dirty. So it's very easy to kind of just dump them like this and clean out the dirt inside the cups. In order to fill the cup water, you just take off this pyramid top and you unscrew the lid. Take one of our containers here and just refill the basin for the cup water there. Snap back on the lid and cover it up. As far as the nipple waterer goes, this one's really helpful for us in the winter time because it's insulated so the water doesn't freeze. And how you check the levels with that is you just turn the top. Again, just fill the water, snap it back. And then in the winter especially, it's important to kind of tap the little nipples and make sure they're working properly. Make sure that the water's coming out because they do freeze on the outside. So if we can kind of break that up, then the chickens have access to water outside in the winter. The last one's a little bit trickier, or messier, I should say. But again, the basin here often gets filled with like a little bit of debris. So if you notice that, you can kind of just go like that. You can, if it's not a lot, you can kind of just empty out this part of it by dumping it. If it is a lot and it's really gross and grimy, you can even, if you feel like it, you can take it and scrub it in one of our spigots. But to refill it, you have to actually turn it upside down, and you have to unplug it here on the bottom and use one of our canisters to go ahead and refill it. Snap it back on nice and tight, and then flip it back up and it refills. So that is basically how you take care of our waterers, and any attention you can give those is super appreciated. Another task that's really helpful as well is when you notice, or if you use some of the water from these, to refill them. And you can refill them down at the White House over here by our beautiful beech tree, and we'll show you where that spigot is later.
In the evening time, we'd like for you to gather all of the food containers up and take them into the coop at night. That reduces any temptations from rodents to come and visit food inside of the run. Dump any extra scratch into the trash container that's inside of the coop. Now that you've completed your evening duties, please double check to be sure you've locked all of the doors, put the key back into the lockbox, and just double check the carabiners on the latches for the access doors. Occasionally these have a tendency to pop open if they're not securely latched, and that would allow access by raccoons or other varmints that we don't want visiting the hens at night. Thanks everybody for being here as volunteers. We couldn't do it without all of your help. The hens and the chicken bosses at the urban farm, thank you very much for being here. Goodbye from Baby Spice and Smokey and all the others.
Thanks, everybody.